Ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be able to be with you by video in the Faroe Islands this evening. And I'm really honored to see that you have had my book, Gunning for God, translated into Faroese. That honors me greatly, though I must say when I saw the title, Good Fyri Skotum, I thought this meant God for the Scots. At least you didn't say God for the Irish, because I happen to be Irish myself. But thank you very much for translating and publishing the book. It brings back great memories to me of my visit to the Faroe Islands in October in 2014. And I had a whirlwind visit. One of the things, in fact, that I remember was the colossal wind on the Faroe Islands. We tried to go and see some birds, but I'm afraid they were all blown to the North Pole by the tremendous winds that you have there. Your friendliness is legendary, and your hospitality was absolutely wonderful. And the audiences, I found, were not only very numerous, but very interested in asking penetrating questions. And I especially enjoyed interacting with younger people. Some of the topics that I dealt with when I was there are encapsulated in this book. And the reason I wrote it is quite simple. I had already written a book called God's Undertaker Has Science Buried God? And the idea of that was to respond as a practicing scientist to what I regard as the abuse of science in promoting atheism. And I wanted to demonstrate that belief in God and doing science are perfectly compatible with one another. Now, the New Atheists, led by Richard Dawkins, used the attack on God in the name of science, and that's why I wrote that book. But increasingly, as time went on, people like Christopher Hitchens moved more towards a moral attack on faith in God, saying that the morality of the Bible was reprehensible, for example, that in any case we don't need God for morality, and many other questions like that. And prompted by it, I decided to write a book mainly on the moral attack against God and raise these very big questions of the relationship between ethics and the existence of God and faith in God. Although part of the book is dedicated to a related problem, and that is the hardest problem for all of us, the problem of evil and suffering. And as well as that, in response to my first book, many people had said to me, look, you haven't faced one of the deepest objections to faith in God that comes from science, and that is you as a Christian have faith, you believe that Jesus Christ literally rose from the dead. Now, that is not possible for a scientifically trained person, because David Hume said long ago that miracles are violations of the laws of nature and are therefore impossible. In the last 2 chapters of this new book that's being published in Faroese, you will find a detailed investigation of why I believe Hume's objection to be completely false. And so I first of all deal with the in-principle objection. Can miracles actually happen within a scientific worldview? And secondly, to do a forensic examination of the evidence for the resurrection of Christ, looking at it, and I think this is something quite new, looking at it through the lens of David Hume's own criteria for the credibility of witnesses. So I very much hope that you enjoy your discussion this evening. I think it will be a very vigorous one. I'm sorry I can't be there to join in, but I do hope that my new book will stimulate many people in the Faroe Islands to think about these very important issues. And I would even dare express a hope that the book might help you to make up your own mind about these things. Thank you very much and good night.